And we're live. So, welcome to this team live stream
We're
with
not
me,
quite
your
live
host,
yet.
Night Owl. According to my side, it is. I'm 10 seconds in.
Yeah. No,
Maybe
no,
there's a
no.
delay.
I haven't started on YouTube yet.
All right, I see an eyeball with a zero next to it. So, I'm assuming we're live now and
One
we just don't
second.
have
No,
an
I have to hit
audience.
the
That's
button on
okay.
my YouTube, and it wasn't popping up
Oh,
yet.
gotcha.
So I need to actually hit go live and hold up. Come on. How hard is this? Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone,
All righty.
and welcome to the introduction of the Lucid Dream Initiative. We have Skyfall Blind Dreamer, we have Night Owl, or you can call him Dream Dojo, and we have Amina from the Dream Roll podcast, and Curious Dreamer, who some of you may know from Lucid Dreaming Discords. Welcome, everyone, to our launch of the Lucid Dream Initiative. Thank you. It is a pleasure to have all of you here.
Yes, thank you so much, Skyfall. I really do appreciate that introduction. And thank you, Amina, and Curious as well for being here. This is our team, guys. So we are LDI, and we're coming to you tonight live to basically launch our website and tell you a little bit more about the nonprofit organization that we hope to start. So, yeah, at this time, what I'd like to do is make sure that everybody has the accurate link on their respective social media platforms. We're going to go and try to make sure that's updated. Due to some confusion over using a Wix site, I'll take full responsibility for that. But we'll go ahead and let you know the domain name at this time so that you guys can follow along and sort of experience what we're reading as we go through it. So the official website is https://
Forward slash.
lucid / thank you,
Yeah.
right. Lucid Dream, that's two D's, Lucid Dream Initiative. So that's INITIATIVE initiative dot wixsite.com and / lucid dream initiati
Yeah.
INITIATI. So it's a whole word salad, but we're going to do our best to post that link in the live as well, wherever you're watching currently. And if we do receive enough initial support, either in the form of views or comments or visits to the website, essentially we'll go ahead and make the investment and buy the official domain. Well, actually, it's already purchased. So ldinitiative.org will be the official domain. And apparently, we just have to spend a little extra money to link the two. So
Yeah.
right now, Wixsite is our host, and the website is fully functional. We invite all of you to join us in checking this out. And we'll kind of walk you through a little bit of an introduction as to what LDI is, what we stand for, our mission and values. And then we'll do a brief introduction into our own personal history in this field and who we are as a team. All
And
right. So go ahead, Ryan.
again, I'd just like to apologize for everybody, especially anyone who saw the website link go out originally. Like to apologize. Yeah, we had these issues. Unfortunately, it's not very clear when you buy a domain on Wix, that you can link it with their basic plan. You can't. And so they don't really tell you that stuff up front until you actually want to link a domain. And they say, oh, by the way, now you have to pay us a bunch of money. And so that kind of blindsided us very recently. And so this is not something that was really clear to us up front. And so we do take full responsibility. We do apologize for that. Just want to let everyone know that we're going to make sure that you guys have access to the correct link. And as soon as we can get that domain going at some point, we do want to get that up there for you guys. So we do appreciate your patience. Thank you.
Yeah, but what's important is the work we're doing, not so much the name. So hopefully you guys can see past that. You're on mute, Night Owl.
Thank you. We reality check everybody. We spent weeks, months to decide on LDI as a name. So let's consider it maybe a blessing in disguise, and we'll find out whatever audience we have gathered here decides they don't like that name after all. Maybe we'll go with a community-driven, project to rename ourselves. But I personally love it. I think we put a lot of thought and effort into defining ourselves and what we're associated with. So I just want to make sure we all have a moment to kind of check out our live streams on whatever platform we're on. And thank you guys all for joining us as we deal, with our own technical difficulties. But yeah, we're going to hop over to the Lucid Dream Initiative.wix site now and show you all what we've been working on.
I think I
Are
can
one
share.
of y'all presenting?
I will.
Awesome.
Or do you want to, Night Owl, maybe since you're going to talk? Right
No,
now?
to be honest, you probably know what you're doing a lot better than me.
Okay.
Amina, so.
Well, let's go into that.
So
layout.
I'm sharing the tab.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you see it? Let me make sure.
Let me make it full screen just to make sure. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to, pop them in the stream. We'll try to get through our information first and we'll address your questions afterwards. Yep, it looks good to me. I can see it.
Cool.
So I'm just pasting it in my live stream now. And Skyfall, you said you've already updated your audience.
I have.
Yeah,
they don't have to.
I put it in the comments, so it should distribute.
Okay,
Put
cool.
us into our full screen layout, so everyone who's watching on any platform, you should be able to see the website in all of its glory right there in front of you.
Yeah, it looks good. I would leave it full screen. Amina, is that you tweaking it?
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Yep. Yeah, that's good for now. We'll just let people look at the website. Okay, so just to describe what you're seeing currently, this is the Lucid Dream Initiative, LDI. And we consider it an initiative because this is just the start. This is absolutely a work in progress and by no means the finished product. But one thing I've realized is that perfection is not realistic. And if you really care about something, you're going to put the work in, day out to learn more and grow as a person. So that's sort of like the philosophy we've embodied in developing this website over time. And we've taken a lot of care to really try and deliver our message. And it starts right here on the first page. So I'll just sort of walk you through what I'm looking at. The Lucid Dream Initiative at the very top. That's our brand name as it stands. If you like it, love it, hate it, don't care, let us know, please. Again, we spent a lot of time just considering that. And then it's accompanied right there on the side by the LDI eye, which is a rapidly blinking eye shown in black and white, along with the theme of the rest of the website. So right here at the top of our title page, wake up to the life of your dreams. Our mission is to brighten everyday experiences by fostering a clear understanding of the dream state through exploring dream research, education, art, and media. So it's those components that make up the acronym DREAM. And learn to lucid dream with LDI. We encourage you to subscribe to our monthly newsletter. And right here at the bottom of our first page, there's a large sign up button that allows you to drop your name, your email, and a brief message, and we'll get right back to you with the next steps. So really quick call to action. Essentially, our newsletter is going to consist of a variety of things, mostly exclusive and original content from LDI, regular updates about our ongoing projects, invitations to participate in online and virtual events, and even the opportunity to volunteer and be a part of ongoing lucid dreaming research, which is perhaps one of the things I'm most excited about. So if we go ahead and scroll down to the introduction, we'll tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we stand for. That's just a brief look at the introduction page beforehand. So introducing the Lucid Dream Initiative. What is the last dream that you remember having? And please, by all means, keep this interactive. Drop your comments in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to them as soon as we can. Did you know that we all dream every single night? Most people don't realize this because we are so quick to forget. Have you ever realized that you were dreaming during a dream? If so, then you experienced a phenomenon known as lucid dreaming. And why learn to lucid dream? We spend a third of our lives sleeping, so why not make the most of it? Many people learn lucid dreaming because awareness of the dream state grants the opportunity to exercise dream control. So they are not necessarily the same thing. Experience your wildest fantasies, from flying through space, practicing learnable skills, or exploring your subconscious mind. The potential is only limited by your imagination. You don't even have to necessarily control the dream. Simply let the dream flow where it will. And even if you're not lucid, there's still plenty to learn by analyzing your own dreams. If you were dreaming now, right now, what would you do next? So it's worth pausing there and thinking about that. Why learn to lucid dream? It's an average. We spend a third of our lives sleeping. I don't know if you can see that on your screen, Amina, but mine is going kind of crazy right now. I think it was just a glitch on my screen. But yeah, we spend a third of our lives sleeping. So think about it this way: if we're spending the average 7 to 9 or 8 hours a night of our 24-hour day, that's a third of your day spent asleep. Not to say that you dream the entire time, obviously, but why not make the most of it? Optimizing your sleep, getting better sleep hygiene, remembering more dreams, and living a lucid lifestyle. Those are some of the themes that you'll see recurring throughout our website here. You can go to the next page now, Amina.
Mm-hmm.
So ask yourselves, if you were dreaming right now, what would you do next? And we'll continue to list our vision and values. So at the Lucid Dream Initiative, we take a science-based approach to lucid dreaming. We value integrity, inclusivity, and empowerment of the individual with empiricism. We share a collective yet subjective experience, so it is only through the appreciation of various perspectives that we can truly achieve our common goals. We understand that you are the only one who can unlock the power of your own dreams, but we can help you find the keys to shared success. Consciousness itself is such an understudied field. So, one of our aims is to dispel misconceptions, ground our approach to the existing evidence, and further our understanding for the future. So, rooted in symbolism of the dream catcher, our foundation stands for dream research, education, art, and media, creating awareness through connecting humanity. Dreamcatch.
Yep.
This powerful acronym represents our commitment to exploration and growth. Our values of integrity, inclusivity, empiricism, and empowerment guide every step we take along this journey. So that's a quick snapshot of our vision and values and what we stand for. At this time, I'll kind of open the floor up before we finish, reading through the rest of the website to the rest of my team. If you guys have anything to add about what I've said so far.
I have a few things. So, first of all, I'd like to thank any of you guys who are going to check out the website at some point. We definitely appreciate that. Just our goal of an organization is really our big goals is to definitely make lucid dreaming more popular, more accessible, to spread it to as many people as possible, and to sort of help more people learn how to lucid dream, more about lucid dreaming, understand it, research it better. So we'd like to pursue all these things. One of our goals is to become a licensed 501c3 nonprofit organization. That's one of our goals. We haven't achieved that yet, but we are just getting started. And so you'll look down the line for potential opportunities related to us becoming an organization. There are certain things that we're going to want to do eventually if we can get to that point. I already thought of a couple of different things that we can possibly do, aside from sort of providing materials and media to people, and content like this where we're actually out here doing streams or interviews or talking to people. Also educational material, of course, videos, live streams, things of that nature, course type stuff, interactive educational material. But also, one of the things I've thought of, for example, is things like scholarships for dream conferences, things that are amazing experiences, but not affordable to all people, but to make something like that accessible to more people through, funding access to such organizations. And then also down the road, funding research as well. So those are some of our goals, and kind of short, medium, and long-term goals that we have. Obviously, pretty ambitious, but we are just starting out. And we definitely appreciate anyone who wants to come along and join us for the ride, because it's going to be a wild one. And I don't just mean wake initiated lucid dream.
Very well said, Skyfall. So thank you so much for chiming in there. And thank you all for being here, whether you're joining in for the live stream or checking out the video after the fact. And if you do decide to go to the website, thank you so much for your support. Just your curiosity alone is what drives and inspires us to innovate in this field and continue to push the envelope forward. So we do recognize that there's there is a lack of research in this field. So while Skyfall mentioned the fact that we are striving to become a 501c3 nonprofit, that is perhaps our main goal, to establish ourselves as an organization. One of our other main goals is going to be to continue to develop ongoing dream research. And that's the first component of our values and our dream catcher acronym there. So by dream research, we essentially mean getting as many people involved as possible to study their own dreams. It starts with you, the audience, our community, with, starting to introspect, what are my dreams like recently? What would I do if I were actually dreaming right now? And, getting inspired that you can potentially wake up to the life of your dreams and start controlling your dreams. And it's a learnable skill that we can practice and that we can share together through this experience. So I just want to kind of wrap up with the website here and encourage you guys to dive deeper, check it out on your own time, and see what appeals to you. But one of the things I love most about this website and the project we've started is the team that helped bring it to life. So with that being said, we'll scroll over to the About Us section, Amina. And or the team section. And then we'll give a brief introduction, not only to LDI, but who we are as the members of our unofficial organization. So I'll go first since I have the floor. My name is Jesse. Some of you may know me as the Night Owl. Recently started the Dream Dojo podcast. Maybe a couple of you are tuning in there. But I'll go ahead and read what I put here on the website. So Night Owl is one of the leaders behind this lucid dreaming website, driven by a transformative journey into the world of lucid dreaming. Starting with skepticism about dreaming, a professor's challenge to maintain a dream journal sparked a fascination. Discovering the richness of the subconscious mind and its stories, the symbols were a revelation. An encounter with sleep paralysis added intrigue and motivated Jesse to gain control over his dreams. Feeling the loneliness of the lucid dreaming journey, Jesse decided to blaze a unique trail, exploring unconventional methods and honing personal practice. This led to the creation of the Lucid Dreaming ARG, or alternate reality game, and it was an interactive experience that garnered hundreds of followers and breathed new life into the field. Facing skepticism, Night Owl adapted and launched the Lucid Dreaming Experiment, which instead was a community-driven project aiming to address credibility issues and collect data for comprehensive studies. The goal remains clear: to master lucid dreaming personally and share effective techniques with others. Jesse, or Night Owl, aspires to create innovative ways to explore the subconscious, improve sleep, and integrate waking life into dreams for a more balanced and mindful existence. Join Jesse and our team on this journey of self-discovery into the depths of the dream world. All right, Amina, you're up next.
Awesome. Okay, 1 second. So I guess I'll just do the same and read my bio, but my name's Amina. So Amina, a passionate dream and consciousness expert, host of the Dream World podcast, aiming to build a thriving dream enthusiast community. She's been a lucid dreamer since childhood, fueling a lifelong journey into DreamWorks power. With psychology and neuroscience background, her master's thesis focused on lucid dreaming for creative inspiration, while her undergraduate research explored childhood dreams and memory. Amid the 2020 pandemic, Amina founded the Dream World, fostering dialogue and knowledge sharing among dream enthusiasts. She's a published author, lucid dreaming coach, content creator, and community moderator dedicated to inspiring others on their lucid dreaming journeys. So fun about myself in person.
Okay, everybody. So I will go next. My name is Ryan, or Ryan Noblet. I am a visually impaired individual. Many of you may already know me. Some of you probably know me from Reddit, some from Discord, some from YouTube. Wherever you know me from, or even if you don't, I developed a passion for lucid dreaming during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was actually the fall of 2020. And this grew into a passion of mine when I learned what it was. And I basically deepened my desire to not only learn about lucid dreaming, but to teach it to others. And I emphasize sort of an analytical, science-based approach to how I teach people and to, how I discuss lucid dreaming in general. And my biggest goals are to spread lucid dreaming as far and wide, to teach people, as many people as I can, about it. I'm always willing to help those in need. And also to, in some way try to see if there's a way we can further research into lucid dreaming and learn more about it. Other passions include traveling, trivia, Jeopardy. I'm also studying political science. And so that's me in a nutshell. Nice to meet you all.
Nice. Thank you, Ryan.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, you too. And then, Brandon, would you mind reading your own bio? I know it's kind of weird talking about ourselves in the third person.
Right,
Be
can everybody hear
natural.
me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
Very
we can
well,
hear you.
yeah. So I'm Brandon. A lot of people already know me as Curious, but I'll go ahead and read the bio. So Brandon K is a passionate explorer of the dream realm with over 4 years of experience in lucid dreaming. His dedication stems from a desire to unlock the full potential of the dream state, and he possesses a strong language and communication skills, making him adept at guiding others on their lucid journey. So Brandon specializes in understanding the power of the unconscious mind and neurolinguistic programming, allowing him to grasp the nuances that foster lucid dreaming. And beyond that personal exploration, he's committed to sharing this transformative skill with other aspiring dreamers. His mission is to make lucid dreaming accessible to everyone, enabling individuals to harness its benefits for personal growth, creativity, and self-discovery. I really have to mention the first time I encountered lucid dreaming, using it in combination with all the other skills that I'd learned, I really understood what its potential was about, because in a lucid dream, you can do anything. And that is one of our lives that we can end up using what others see as just rest. So if I were to mention anything particularly about myself, it would be that the first time that I felt that I could unlock this potential, I feel like that anybody else can do the same thing. The fact that you're not only able to learn about, you're not able only to engage your creativity inside the dream, but you can also learn so more about yourself, and that's what I'm willing to share.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, it sounds like your internet connection wasn't cooperating too well. That's unfortunate, but thank you. That was excellent.
Yeah, I could hear it pretty well still.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, that's a little bit about us, guys. That's the team. These are the volunteers, because that's what we are, who came together and met regularly just to talk about some of our passions as it pertains to the field of lucid dreaming. And what we discovered was that we all shared a vision through somewhat of different perspectives. So I think it's definitely there's something to be said of like-minded individuals getting together and furthering their cause, but at the same time, appreciating that diversity and celebrating our differences in order to form a more comprehensive whole, right? So, yeah, we hope you enjoy the website as it stands so far. There's a few other things we can touch on that exist here briefly. So, Amina, if you wanted to take us back to the main page, and we'll sort of finish up just wrapping up with the ongoing research we're doing and the call to action at the end. Perfect. All right. So we talked about LDI, the Lucid Dream Initiative, our mission and values. We introduced you to the organization as well as the team behind it. And now we want to talk a little bit more about our ongoing projects. All right. So Dream Research is the first aspect of our mission and values. And so that's where we'll start here. So if you want to join ongoing online research, listen up, because this is happening now. All right. So, in order to conduct groundbreaking research, we need your help. We're actively recruiting volunteers just like you from all levels of experience and skill who want to learn more about lucid dreaming and anonymously participate in ongoing research. All you have to do is apply to participate and then record or report your sleep and dream experiences with a super short daily survey. And that's it. Check out some of the preliminary findings from our pilot program shown below, and there's a link to join the initiative here. All right, so essentially, we've already conducted, or I did before LDI even was a thing, along with the help of volunteers, much like the team that's here. A pilot experiment with preliminary data. So I consider myself as somewhat of a citizen scientist, and it really speaks volumes to the work in progress of the entire project as a whole, right? So initially, it started as an idea to gather as many willing participants and to create a pool of ongoing test subjects that would be willing to donate their time in exchange for information about their own sleep practice and dream work. So originally it was conducted as a poll on Reddit, just gauging interest, who would be interested in participating in this sort of online unconventional research. And to my surprise, in less than a week's time, nearly 3,000 people had responded that they were at least somewhat interested and needed more information. And from there, it sort of took on a life of its own. So through the efforts of volunteers from all walks of life, including social media managers, data analysts, copywriters, and more, we banded together as a community and developed what was referred to as the lucid dreaming experiment, a study in dream recall specifically. And our hypothesis was that keeping any dream journal would be shown to improve dream recall as opposed to no method of recording at all. And another hypothesis was that perhaps keeping a physical notebook would be more effective than using a digital dream journal like a cell phone or a laptop. And we wanted to see if there was actually a difference. So the methodology was conducted through a system of convenience sampling. So basically, anybody who wanted to volunteer was invited to participate. And the majority of the people who were recruited or notified about this ongoing research project were told through various social media platforms. So you sort of want to go to the places where the dreamers are, right? So that's here on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, and Discord. And we basically tapped into the collective community as a whole and put ourselves out there as much as possible. Hey, this is an ongoing project. Here's how it works. And so what we did to study dream recall was conduct a super short daily survey over the course of a month and record various phases of a person's practice. So for the first week, you wouldn't record any dreams in a journal. You would sort of wake up, maybe do some reflection, and that was it. And obviously, if you're into dream work, that was the first challenge, to say the least. It's hard for you to put down the dream journal to stop your practice in its tracks. But it was important for us at the time in order to establish a baseline and realize each individual's sort of reset level. What happens if you don't use any method? And once we established that over the course of 1 week during the first phase, the next week was what we referred to as a testing phase. And so then we divided the group randomly and separated people from group A, which was a physical notebook, versus group B, which was a digital dream journal. And we compared the two groups. And then after the second week, it was another reset baseline phase. So on the third week of the month, you actually went back to doing no method of recollection because it was important to validate, the effect of a dream journal method after a period of a baseline phase. So one more week of no dream journaling. I know a few people failed here. They forgot, they were supposed to stop, or, they had such a great lucid dream. They had to write it down, and, that's okay. The experiment itself was designed for anybody to do it at any time at their own pace. But the best quality data occurred when people consistently woke up day after day, much like a real lucid dreaming practice, and remained consistent with filling out, their daily survey. And whether that was a period of baseline or a period of testing, we went from baseline to one method of journaling, back to baseline to the other method, and then we compared all the groups against a control group where they didn't do anything the entire time. And what we found was quite interesting, and it fit somewhat in line with the hypothesis, but it is important to note that many of the methods implemented for the initial experiment, the pilot study, had inherent bias and design flaws that we're looking to address in future iterations of the lucid dreaming experiment. So some of those we can get into, but what I'd like to do now, Mina, if you could scroll down to show just the box plot and a demographic that I'll sort of describe to you here and what I'm seeing. So at the conclusion of the pilot experiment, it took roughly a month for 250 people to apply. About 75 people finished all 30 days of the experiment. Okay. And what we found preliminarily, you guys can hear me okay, right? Okay, good. Was so if you look at the box plots here, the most interesting thing was, and this struck me. One more time, guys. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. I'm going to take the headphones off because these died. So if you look at the box plot, I'll describe to you guys the each color. So there's a pink box, a brown, green box, a bluish box, and a purple one. Should probably pick some better colors. That brown and green, I don't know about that. Anyway, they all have a medium baseline of basically the same number of dreams, regardless of if you were in the control group, the participant with no method during a baseline phase, or you use the digital app versus a notebook. They all sort of had the same median level, which is surprising because you would definitely expect to see people who were exploring dream journaling methods to have a higher median level of dream recall. That right there tells me we either need more participants or better study design. But as we look deeper, what you'll find is that the control group and the baseline participants, the people who weren't using any method at all, had a very similar experience in terms of the number of dreams they recalled. So once you look into, and we measured this on a scale of 0 to 5 dreams, because on average, if you're having 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you're going through, 4 to 5 cycles. We're attributing 1 dream per cycle on average. We assumed that 5 would be the most anybody would record, although we recognize maybe more or less. So the most anybody recorded on this scale was 5. And the least you could do, obviously, was 0. So once we compared the participant digital app to the participants using the digital notebook, this is where the truly interesting findings lie. So what you'll see compared to the digital app and the notebook is that the digital app has a much smaller, what they refer to as a whisker. So the whisker for the digital app actually stops at the 3 level, whereas the whisker for the physical notebook stops at the 5 level. And there are some outliers. You can see the dots or the diamonds, right, Amina, above the participant digital app group. And that basically means that few and far between, there were a few instances of people who recorded 4 or 5 dreams, but it definitely wasn't within the range of average. So whereas for the participants for the notebook group, the range extends all the way out to 5. So immediately just looking at that comparison, I would argue that participants using a physical notebook experienced not only more dreams, but more detail in the context of those dreams. And on the flip side, funny enough, you'll notice that the digital app box plot is the only one that it's much smaller. It doesn't have an above and a below section compared to the median. And that's because most of the digital app, it appears, did not record, or they always recorded at least 1 dream. So if you have no idea what I just said, let me rephrase it. Comparing using a digital app to a physical notebook, a digital app like your cell phone appears to be more consistent at recording any dreams. But the physical notebook, action of writing it down manually, seems to lend itself to recalling more detail in those dreams and essentially more dreams overall. In terms of statistical significance and the types of analysis we performed, all of that's going to be addressed in a paper along with the methodology and and how the experiment was run the first time. But the only statistically significant result we found at this time seems to be the use of a physical notebook compared to the control group. Remembered much more dreams in much more detail, which was in line with our original hypothesis. So does any of that make sense, guys? I know I should have probably, read straight from the
It makes
paper.
perfect sense to me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I can't even see the graph, and I'm following you. So
Thank you so much, Ryan,
Cool.
for saying that, because it went completely off the cuff. It was probably poorly explained, but I found it quite interesting. It appears digital apps are more consistent because you're less likely to have no dream recall. However, you record less detail. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's quite interesting, and I kind of have some guesses as to why. I mean, I think it's interesting, and hopefully we can explore it further. Um, but yeah, that's cool. I don't know, maybe like you start to wake up a little bit once your phone light hits your face. So maybe some details start to fade away. And also sometimes, like I've heard a lot of people say that like the physical act of writing things out helps them a lot more. So it really just depends on the person, but it makes sense.
Cool. What about you, Ryan or Brandon? You guys have any thoughts about the preliminary findings from the first study? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Can you hear me now? I was muted.
Yeah.
My apologies. I do have thoughts, and I was talking for about 20 seconds, and y'all couldn't hear anything I said. Nice. Excellent. Well done, Ryan. All right. Anyway, so I do have some thoughts about what you and Amina were just saying, and it relates to, because we didn't discuss voice recording, just digital apps. So I
Mhm.
feel like, it can be consistent because it's easier to access. And so the
Sure.
journal, you have to physically write. So you have to get a pen or a pencil, physically write. Writing is typically slower than typing for, I guess, a lot of people. I would imagine that, physically writing down words would probably be slower than typing. And so it could take longer for you to actually get ideas out. However, one of the other things that I think about is if you're typing maybe, or if you're voice recording, you might feel pressured to do it as quickly as possible. And so you may omit detail, or you may not try as hard to remember details. And so that's something to think about too.
True. Yeah, it may very well be a matter of convenience versus, the trade-off of distraction, right? So oftentimes I think a physical notebook, especially in the context of this experiment, it was something they had to go out of their way to set up and dedicate, a space to. Whereas your phone, for example, is an amalgamation of applications and other things that you're usually using it for, right? So for me, just a side note from my personal practice, in order for me to have proper recall, I like to set my dream journal up at night and leave it ready to go by my bed. Because if not, I'm waking up, I'm turning off alarms, I'm checking text messages, I got notifications from other platforms. So yeah, to me, it's not necessarily surprising, although there's plenty of room for improvement in the overall study design and hopefully the reduction of bias.
I think probably the main issue I had with the initial study design, well, one of them is probably not the accessible layout, but the the fact that it was 1 week on, 1 week off, because a week really isn't that long. And so you get a week-long baseline. And so you have this sort of baseline. And also, the other thing to consider is maybe people aren't thinking as much about their dreams before they go in there, but then when they're being asked about their dreams every day, they're thinking more about them, and that can affect dream recall. So actively thinking more about your dreams, doing exercises to remember them, but not journaling them can affect recall. But also, you're engaging with it, but then you're only journaling for a week. And so do you really have enough time to determine if it's going to help you improve your recall over time or not? And then you go back to doing a baseline, and then you switch to a different method. And so that, while something like that over a longer term could possibly be beneficial to an individual on an individual level, I think that the switching back and forth week to week could also be a little detrimental to the overall results, because now you're I don't know if you're giving enough time per se for things to work properly. So maybe giving people 3 weeks with the journaling method, so 1 month total, giving people, and instead of repeating the baseline, you already have a certain baseline. I don't know if you know how you can do that and how you can adjust for that. I think I don't know if there's a really good way to adjust that with an individual, because now you already have someone recalling their dreams and stuff, and then changing journaling methods and what that effect might
So
have.
really quick to
Yeah, sorry.
interject, Ryan, because I love what you said, and I
Mhm.
agree. The length of time for the study was one of the biggest components we considered, and in my mind, 1 week was enough to show a difference in dream recall. And I personally feel as if one of the biggest design flaws was what we see right here with this graph in front of us, the number of dreams. I feel as though that's a superfluous uh, quantity because it can be somewhat subjective as to how many actual dreams you had, right? So when we're dealing with online studies, there's already the self-reporting bias. You know, people want to seem successful, they want to feel connected, they don't want to let me down. And so they're going to say, oh, I did have a dream, even if they didn't remember any dreams. And so we're actually considering a different scale to measure dream recall. And as opposed to focusing so much on the number of dreams, maybe just the amount of detail that you could record. Okay. Does that make sense? So you
Yeah.
might be muted again.
Yeah, I
Yep.
did. I muted so you wouldn't hear me typing or doing anything. But yeah, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense. And
And then I
I
was going
think
to say, go ahead. You
maybe like
first.
recording, like, seeing, that's the other qualitative measurement could be something like we discussed before. How many words are you able to record or note down in terms of a dream journal? Like, something like when you were talking with Dr. Gish and you're going through his course, he asks people to estimate how long their dream journal entries are. And so something along those lines, how much did you write in your dream journal? So how many words did you put down? More of a qualitative response. And so you can get an idea for the level of detail that someone's recording might be a better measurement. Is that something maybe you're thinking about? Because I know we've talked about that a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
So actually, I don't know. Maybe if you're in the audience and you're thinking about participating, if you've never kept a dream journal, just let me know your initial thoughts. We're very much considering including an aspect of the survey, right? So you just click the link and it's a part of your morning routine. Immediately you go into what time did you go to bed? What time did you wake up? Did you remember any dreams? Right. So that's a quantitative answer. Technically, it's a 0 or a 1. Either you didn't remember any or you did remember something. And the way we're going to further measure the depth of detail is through implementing a dream journal section of the survey you complete right there, all in one place. So that way we eliminate the variable of what app are you using and how many words was it. And now you got to go back from the survey link to your app and somehow count the words, which seems like a tedious action nobody wants to do when they're first waking up. So by just using the space we provide and obviously excluding any content from the dream journal section in terms of study, it's exclusively to determine a number of words in terms of detail that somebody records. And that's the only number that would be captured and then anonymously reported for that user. That's my best thought about how we could, further quantify the actual data and not get caught up on some of this subjective self-reporting that could skew the results.
Yeah, it's a great start. Honestly, I think it's a good way to start off with what's hopefully a bright future for all of us, and a way we can look at what has worked, what hasn't worked, what can work in the future, how we might modify something like this over time, and develop potentially a look towards the future, and what kind of future projects we might be able to run.
Awesome. Yeah, great point. I mean, take the good with the bad, right? And figure out what works so we can keep, pushing forward. Curious, did you have anything to add on the experiment? Fortunately enough for me, all three of you got to participate in the experiment. I did not have that luxury. I was busy, slaving away at the 100+ survey forms I found in my drive earlier. So curious, do you have anything to add?
Well, it's tricky to have a researcher participate in his own experiment. Whatever it is, I mean, it is very, very clear that journaling does have an impact on whether we lucid dream or not. And actually, I think all of this, that there's so many caveats between each of the strategies that we can use, each of the type of journaling that we can do, whether it's voice or keyboard or whatever it is. But yeah, it depends basically on maybe how how quickly you want to do the journaling or how much you want to explore it in depth. I know a lot of people maybe like wake up and have to go to work immediately or something, and when something like that, it might be a little bit more difficult to really encourage a really consistent dream journaling practice. But besides, I'm sure there's a lot more that we can explore with ongoing experiments and experiments that we might be starting soon. So this is the start. There's so much more that we can explore.
Yeah, thank you. Somebody commented and said, I think the quantity of words would be a great way to measure one's growing awareness to their dreams, but to not exactly exhaust someone from journaling so much detail. So maybe looking into what details capture lucidity in dreams, because observing more details means you're committing to memory, which works with the awareness aspect, maybe. I don't know. So, I mean, what I took away from that comment is even something like giving a specific space for everybody to record their dreams can still be very subjective, right? Are we using the same language? Are we using the same format? Or is it bullet points, or are we like just telling, paragraph after paragraph? I think all of these things are worth considering so that we can eliminate, as many variables as possible and keep that number objective.
I
But go ahead.
Yeah, because I think a really good way to do that is actually to instruct people on how to record their dreams for the purpose of the study. So that way, everyone's recording in more or less the same format. And so at that point, you can measure differences in word counts and how people are recording. And then while this may not be like the thing that's subjectively best for each person, it would create a more standardized method of reviewing or cataloging data in that sense. So that might be one way to approach something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe trying to have at least maybe not the best, but good parts from both worlds where, we still encourage the, tried and true practices of dream journal methods. However, we keep it consistent regardless of personal preference. Okay. Yeah, still a lot to get into there, guys. Again, there's a reason it's a pilot study, and this is preliminary findings. There's plenty to get into, and I look forward to publishing the paper on our Discord as well as this website now, just learning from our mistakes of the past and trying to improve for the future. The future versions of the lucid dreaming experiment are not set in stone yet, guys. I mean, dream journaling still has a lot we can get into in order to make the study more legitimate. There's also a lot to be said about what techniques work best at scale for the majority of people. So I'm very interested in what the community wants to study themselves, and not just for the sake of science, right? Of publishing a peer-reviewed paper and getting it seen by as many people as possible. What I really would love is to make a connection with you, the audience, as an individual, and get you started on a process of thinking, how do I sleep? What other variables from my day either contribute or take away from a good night's sleep? And how does that lend itself to remembering more dreams and eventually lucidity, right? So while lucidity is one of our main goals, is definitely not the only one. And as we mentioned before, there's still plenty of value to be gleaned from analyzing your regular dreams, or just thinking about, your routines and how they're conducive to a good night's rest. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, especially the experiment and how you can be involved, we're looking for volunteers as well as participants. You could be a part of the control group, or you could try out different methods of dream journaling and see what works for you. At least that's what we did for the last experiment. Be sure to check out the website. If you sign up and apply for our monthly newsletter, it'll give you instructions and details about what we're working on and what's to come next. And there's also a link at the top of the page. I don't know if you can scroll back up and just show people where the join the experiment button is. So you can click either join the initiative or join the experiment up top. And yep, there on the left. Yep, top left of the page next to the Discord and the Spotify button. Join the experiment, and it'll take you directly to an application survey. So that's going to help capture some basic demographic data like where you live, your age, and things of that nature. And it is genuinely the only time that we ask for such personal information. And the reason for it is to create a user profile for you to use throughout the rest of your experience and study. So essentially, you go in, you fill out the application, you drop your basic demographic data, your health information, experience and skill level. Essentially, it accounts for all of the confounding variables that could sort of affect your results. And while there are no disqualifiers, nothing you answer there will, get you removed from our project. Only certain people will be accepted to participate in the official study that's going to be taken hopefully to a larger scale and validated externally. So in order to find out, you have to fill out the initial survey, and it's definitely the longest survey you'll take. Should only take roughly 5 minutes, and you go through it, and afterwards we'll contact you with your own private username that you can use so that the later surveys you complete will all be kept completely coded and anonymous. And it's very important for us to protect our privacy, especially in the realm of dream work, and make sure that if we are using your data in public sphere, that there's nothing that can sort of trace back to you personally.
One thing I'd like to reiterate, because I don't think we mentioned this earlier, but just going off of what Jesse just said there, because he's awesome, is that there's two parts to this whole thing. There's the objective part of we want to collect data, try to find out what can work on a community scale. Then there's the subjective part. There's data that can benefit you personally in your practice. Can you get a better understanding of your own sleep and your own dreams through doing this? And ultimately, even if your own personal data, like your own dream data, doesn't work for the objective report because some demographic thing, what you can do is you can benefit and learn from yourself and learn from what you're doing, and we can help you do that. That's one of our goals, is to develop a point where we can get technologically sophisticated enough that each member can have their own sort of LDI profile, and you can use it as a dream journal. You can we talk about journaling on apps versus notebooks versus computers. You could copy dream journals in there. You could view it on your phone, view it on your computer, maximum portability and convenience. You could even get personalized data that's just shared with you, that's just about your own sleep and your own dreams. You can record your sleep and go, okay, well, maybe I'm not getting as good sleep at this point. Maybe there's something impacting my sleep. My dream recall's gone up or down, or, I have got lucid or I haven't got lucid, or here's potentially, recurring themes that might be coming up in dreams based on like keywords and other things like that might be coming up. Here's potential dream signs or recurring dream signs or themes. So there's all different ways that data can be used to help individuals. And so one of our goals is to be able to make a platform where it maximizes user, basically convenience and usability. So you can have that and it's personalized to you. No one else messes with it, and you can get, basically just understanding more of your own dreams, your own sleep, and benefit from it. So that's one of our goals kind of down the road when we get more sophisticated, is to have something like that everyone can benefit from.
You're muted.
Me and Skyfall are just going back and forth at it. I tell you. Thank you, Amina. What we do without you. So you did a great job of capturing the whole vision and the scope of things, right? So just like our mission and the acronym Dreamcatcher, right? Dream research, education, art, and media. And I would argue that media delves into what Skyfall was talking about there. So essentially creating a platform that encompasses your whole experience, from setting the intention at night when you lay down to bed, reflecting on some of your evening routines and whatever habits and hobbies you have that are conducive to lucidity, having essentially a guide in your pocket that you can pull out and say, here's my practice, here's what works for me. You go to sleep, you wake up, you have a place to record your dreams, you have a community to connect with that can also help you analyze the content of your dreams, because again, we're empowering you as the individual to unlock the power of your subconscious. Nobody else can tell you, not even that dictionary, dream dictionary that's collecting dust on your shelf, can tell you what your dreams mean, but they can help, right? These are all tools, and we're essentially just making ourselves available through the love and dedication that we've poured into this website and all of our future ongoing projects. So with that in mind, and with wrapping up what I've talked about with the experiment, I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of what we do now in today's modern day and age is a factor of convenience, right? And so we have so many systems in place that help us accomplish our daily goals. And with the Lucid Dream Initiative, it's no different. So we're working very closely with OpenAI and platforms like ChatGPT to automate a lot of what we do. And full transparency, it is a tool that we use in order to better accomplish our goals, right? So, much like a well-crafted prompt in DALL-E or Midjourney, there's a lot of user input that determines the output of the product, right? So, one of our goals with working with AI, again, full transparency, you'll know what's produced with AI content, what's not, and furthermore, we're going to automate a lot of the processes that prevent a seamless experience. Okay, so for example, if you're going to the Lucid Dream Initiative .wix site or .org site eventually, then you're signing up for the monthly newsletter. You're going to get an automatic response, and me and Amina have tested this quite a few times now. Today alone, we're pretty sure that you drop in your name, put an email. You don't even have to include a message. You will get a response, and it's not an automatic response. We still had to take the time to consider what was the next most important piece of information and what's the next action step. So with that automatic system, we're able to seamlessly reach you when you're ready to respond. And that way there's no delay or lag between the amount of time it takes for you to send and us to receive a message, so that we keep the conversation going. I know that's a very important goal for Amina. I think it's what makes a community feel alive, right? Is that quick engagement, feeling like you're connecting with real people in real time, and you're not just sending, that email out into the ether and never knowing when, one will return. So that's just one example of how we're using automated systems to improve our effectiveness and efficiency. And then we're doing the same thing even with the experiment, right? So there's so many systems we can implement in terms of data analysis to creating a user profile and coding the data that'll enable us to more effectively complete our goals and succeed. That's sort of like the work aspect of it. That's like the behind the scenes. We're looking behind the curtain, of Oz and seeing some of our inner workings. But in today's day and age, again, I think it's so important. And, we're not gatekeeping any secrets here. We're going to use every tool we have in our belt to accomplish our goals. And why not have a little fun with it as well? So I'd like to talk a little bit more about what we're doing with AI and, what role it has with LDI. If you go through our website, you'll see we haven't even included any information about those ongoing projects because they're very much still in the works. But maybe one of my team members can take the floor and introduce some of the concepts that we're teasing here tonight. Brandon or Skyfall?
I'll go. Because there's also one thing I want to remind everyone at the end, but there are two main concepts we're looking at right now. And just to give you the kind of the bare bones broad explanation of them, because again, we're still digging into the weeds with this. We're still working on this. We're trying to educate and build the prompts. I had a little fun breaking one of them a couple of weeks ago, because one of them is going to be basically a game where we try to use games to help people learn more about lucid dreaming. This is just one project that we're working on towards this end. And it would be basically an AI choose your own adventure game with a basic plot device. I broke it by making my character an omniscient god. So so that broke it. But it's gonna be fun. We're working a lot of the details out there. But basically an adventure, a fun experience. You can kind of work your way through, solve puzzles, and find solutions and learn more about lucid dreaming through that process. The other thing we're working on with AI is actually basically a dream guide bot that can help you basically start with lucid dreaming, very intro, almost pretty much intro beginner stuff, maybe a little bit more advanced stuff down the road. We're still working on it. Again, all this stuff is a work in progress. That's why you won't see it really much on the website right now. This is kind of a teaser, but the goal with that is, people can take time to respond, because we are human beings. We have our own lives, we have our own schedules, and we shouldn't shouldn't have to wait on getting access to information because another person who could be there to help you is asleep or is in a different country or is not really there at that specific time. And so an AI tool would allow you to get access to definitely basic information and some techniques and some guides and prompts and things where you could at least get started. You could learn some basics, you could learn information related to lucid dreaming, and you could kind of start from there and try to build off of that. And that's just going to be one tool that we offer you when this stuff ends up launching. So that's just in the works. It's not out there yet. One thing before I go switch over for a second, I just want to remind everyone, whether it's the experiment or anything with our profiles when we get that going at some point, everyone has the right to their own personal data and privacy, and all experiments and anything that follows, anything of that nature requires informed consent. So you give an informed consent to use your data. It cannot be used without it, and you can always withdraw that consent at any time. So just remember, your data is yours. You own it, and so that. Hold on.
Yeah, I hear you, Ryan. So basically, one of the first things you'll see when you actually click the join the experiment button and you're directed to the application where we'll capture the demographic information, health information, skill level, and experience, is going to be a little disclaimer with the consent form. So it's basically saying, I understand we're going to use this information publicly. It will be kept anonymous and coded to protect your privacy and yada yada. So definitely make sure you read through the legal jargon, because it is important to say that we value your privacy. We are not gonna be connecting your dream journal entries with any sort of public study. Full transparency, we will always explain why we're capturing the data and what we're going to do with it. And at this point, it's really just applying to see if you could be eligible to participate in future studies. And even if there's some confounding variable, like you are you have narcolepsy or you're a certified insomniac, then maybe we couldn't include you in a broader study of everybody in the population, but it's still worth measuring and recording your own practices and what works for you. Again, getting back to the user profile concept, it's going to be extremely personalized to the individual first, because with such a subjective experience, it really does matter if you're seeing results for yourself and if we can extrapolate and then apply that to the larger group as a whole.
Yeah. Sorry, I dropped off a cliff there for a second. The Instagram notification. So whichever y'all has the Instagrams going, Instagram said goodbye. So
I hate how
Yep.
it does that. It only lets you do 1 hour, but I just reset mine.
I can do that on YouTube for as long as I like. It's so much nicer.
Yeah. All good though. I
just,
fixed it.
Just applied to the live stream on YouTube. Hopefully they accept me. I don't know.
Give it a little bit. You'll get there.
Yeah, right now we're coming to you live from various platforms. They mentioned Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're also on Discord and Reddit. So we're trying our best to reach all major networks where lucid dreamers are. And that also extends to people who don't have any experience in this field, right? So if you don't know where to start, you're not sure, if you've had a lucid dream or maybe even what it is, you're still a little confused, and that's what we're here for. So we'd like to guide you through every step of the process, whether you're an absolute novice or a self-proclaimed master lucid dreamer. And we do our best to create content that appeals to all levels of lucidity. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. We are, I'm just thinking, do we have anything else that we want to cover? We are, I believe, at 1 hour and 7 minutes or so. So just wondering if there's anything else we wanted to cover.
So I mean, just to kind of recap where we're at, since we're at the hour mark now, thank you again for joining us, especially if you're watching live now. We really appreciate it. We'll be uploading a video or at least some clips from this conversation promoting our website launch, which went official today, for the rest of this month. And then we'll wrap up the month by sending out our first official newsletter. Okay. And basically, again, that newsletter is going to include free guides, original content from LDI, invitations to virtual and in-person events, as well as the opportunity to participate in ongoing online research. So all very exciting stuff. The way to get involved is to check out our website, the Lucid Dream Initiative.wix site. We'll go ahead and post the link wherever you're watching this, so it's easy for you to find. And you can share your support just by clicking on the link and checking out the website. If you like what you see and who we are and what we stand for, then within the first page, you'll see a big button that says sign up. And if you click that, it'll redirect you to an email subscription. You just plug in your email, or if you don't even want to use your personal email, make a separate account just for your lucid dreaming experience. And you will immediately get contacted with a welcome message telling you a little bit more about what we do and a call to action if you'd like to apply to be involved in studying your own sleep and dreams and potentially even being a part of groundbreaking future research. So we introduced the Lucid Dream Initiative, our mission and values. We talked a little bit about our symbol, the dream catcher, and what that acronym means to us. You heard from each of our current team members, Amina, Ryan, and Brandon, as well as me, Jesse, and we all go by our online avatars, except for Amina. She's the only one with an actually cool name, so she's just Amina. But yeah, you'll see us on various social media platforms. We'll make it a point to be available wherever you are. And then the best way to reach us, again, is by going to that website and signing up for that email. Okay. We'll provide regular updates. If nothing else, once a month is our goal, right, guys? I think once a month is very attainable.
Once a month for newsletters. So when we send out a newsletter each month, we'll pick a regular date and time. We haven't yet decided on that yet, but what we'll do, our goal is to basically update you with our progress. Here are things that are in the works. Here are plans. If there are any events, are there any projects, are there any maybe live streams or any events that we're doing, anything that could be of interest to you, to the potential clients at some point, to people who are interested in learning lucid dreaming, updates to anything we're doing. We're going to post those once a month. We feel like that's reasonable. We don't want to spam people. We don't want to be sending you daily emails. God knows you get enough of those every single day from every other company on the planet. So we don't want to be spamming you. We want to make sure that what you get from us is meaningful and that it resonates in some way and that you're able to benefit from it in some way. And so we're going to be starting off small because we are small for now, but our goal is each month to give you something that you can, keep in touch with, you can, grow with or learn with, or gives you an idea of what we're doing as an organization. And we're going to branch off at some point into some bigger things down the road. But our goal with these newsletters is just to keep you all informed and up to date as to what we're doing for anyone who's interested. And we're not trying to hog your inbox. We're just wanting to send you guys a message once a month and keep you guys posted on everything that we have going on. So that is basically the goal with the newsletters.
Yeah, exactly. That's so well said, Ryan. Thank you. Because the newsletter is only a monthly touch base, right? And it should be like a recap, including some of the progress we had made that month. But the social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, Reddit, X, will also be our way for you to receive our content, regularly and to reach out. But if you really need to contact us, the website is the best bet right now. So yeah, at this point, we're almost at an hour and 10 minutes. I think we've covered a lot, and I appreciate everybody's time, especially the audience and my team members here. I really do appreciate all of you guys. It looks like we might have lost Curious there, but we'll catch up with him later. So at this point, we got a few people in the audience still. I just wanted to open the floor to see if there's any more questions and just see if there's any topic in particular that people wanted to talk about.
For those couple of you guys watching my stream as well, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I haven't noticed anything in the chat, so I'm just not sure if it's not updating or if there's just aren't any questions. But if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We will be happy to answer those.
Yeah, what I can see on my end, Skyfall, is just the Facebook live chat. I don't know if it'll show you guys something different on your end, but that's what I can see. I got it pulled up on my phone.
Well,
here,
I
too.
have my own dedicated YouTube page pulled up because that's where I'm actually running the YouTube stream on my end from, and I've got 2 concurrent viewers and I think 3 likes at the moment. But the chat's pretty much quiet over there. I don't want to refresh the page because that screws with the live stream. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just go back to an earlier comment I saw somebody leave, and that was sometimes in the middle of the night, I write down a few words to help me remember my dreams. However, I always try to get back to sleep and not let it interrupt my train of thought. So in the morning, I review what I wrote and then fill in the details to avoid disrupting my sleep too much. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's great. I do that too a lot. Like I do keywords. I started doing this before I started using a voice activated recorder. I would just use a notebook and write down bullet points, like some main dream symbols, like a person, place, feeling, like usually one word. It's incredible how one word will bring back an entire dream memory. And then I can fill in the details from there. But then I've upgraded from doing that to just using a voice activated recorder, which I like more. But everybody is different, so whatever works. But I always suggest the keyword method to people.
The keyword method is actually called dream tagging. And basically, you are writing down those keywords and phrases with the intention to remember the dream fully when you wake up so you can fully journal it. This is really good for wake back to beds, as I believe is discussed. Especially for people who don't want to journal their whole dream during the way back to bed, because for many people that can actually keep people awake too much sometimes for people. So it's just easier to tag those dreams and then do a technique and go back to sleep. So it's perfect for those types of situations when you're waking up and going back to sleep to just note down keywords. Okay, here's the Cliff Notes version. Go record it later. You have that intention to do it. It's actually a pretty well established method. So if you discover this on your own, that's really awesome because it's a pretty well established method for improving recall with a journal. So that's awesome.
Great. And yeah, you guys mentioned it a few times. Voice recorders were a method of dream journaling we didn't even touch on. And it was technically a part of the first experiment, right? So
Yeah.
I'd say the 3 main ways you can record are by voice, digitally, or manually with a notebook. And yeah, I'm definitely open to reconsidering the format we implement for recording those dreams. So if we can sort of figure out the best keyword system, right? One of the ideas I had was people, places, things, and feelings. Do you think that's appropriate description for the keywords that trigger dream recall?
Yeah, I the dream symbols I categorize are characters, emotions, environments, objects, and I guess yeah, any other like main themes or words. But yeah, people, place, objects mostly.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of alliteration, so the PPP helps me remember
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But I don't.
Literal.
But does that work for you, Skyfall? If we call it people, place, feeling, and thing.
Yeah, like the general idea of kind of things you write down. Yeah, whatever you think will help you best remember the dream, like most important details or things like, so say a place again, like places, characters, stuff like that. Emotions are good. Anything that connects to that dream is like, oh well, I see this and boom, I immediately think of this dream. Like probably a good keyword for one of mine last night is TARDIS, because it ended with me going into the TARDIS and escaping Pluto, which had been taken over by this race of aliens shaped like hats that were putting people in a matrix. Yep, that happened last night. So,
Nice. Okay. So yeah, maybe I would add one last thing, and that's like action. Like if you're doing something, like I don't know. I feel like that would,
actions are good. Yes.
yeah, so people, place, uh feeling, thing, and action. I think we can probably rephrase that and make it sound better, easier to remember. But yeah, very interesting concept. How to improve dream recall by creating a structure of keywords that'll trigger more memory once you officially wake up. I think that's the best of both worlds, because you don't have to spend an extended period of time writing pages. You can just get the important things down while they're at the tip of your tongue, and then refer back to it later. So yeah, if anybody else is watching, at this point, we're gonna wrap things up. We're almost 15 minutes past. Annie, on Facebook said feelings, definitely. I think there's a lot of interesting ways to record feelings in any dream. It could be like a scale, like how angry, or I guess maybe there's a technical term for it, but I believe it's something like 7 basic emotions, we experience, and maybe we could have like a sliding scale of how much you feel you experience those emotions during your dream. Several studies have laid the groundwork for these valence scales in the past that they've used and have been successful with. You gonna say something, Skyfall?
Oh, no.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of standing on the giants before me and referring to what they have found to be adequate measurement for an emotional scale in terms of dream recall. So yeah, referring to those 7 basic emotions and how much or how deeply you experience those emotions might be one way of thinking about details in dreams. Okay.
Any
So,
questions from Amina's side of things? I know you're broadcasting to like 6 billion different places. And anything from your Facebook groups or from your Instagram kind of cut on and off, from your YouTube, from any of that?
Yeah, no, not at the moment.
Dang. Okay.
all right, guys. So I think that'll wrap it up. We're gonna end the live stream, but we'll keep the conversation going. So if you're catching this after the fact, please, by all means, let us know in the comments down below. Add any questions you might have had from throughout the listening experience, and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible.
And-
Otherwise, make sure all of us here drop the link on those various platforms so that people know exactly where to go for the website. Be sure to include your email to be a part of our monthly newsletter, and you might even have the chance to apply to be a part of the experiment too. So check it
Cool.
out. A lot of interesting things to come.
I
Yeah,
did have one comment about something we
Sure.
talked about previously. My friend Martin was talking about he had a suggestion about the dream journal data, which I know the experiment, like we're going to get back into it, but he suggested to get data from previous journals to kind of compare as like a baseline, like people that already have like a dream journaling practice, either written or what do you call it, or digital, and like using that as kind of like a baseline. So that was the main comment that I had on my
Actually, a good
Instagram.
idea, Martin. Thank you so
Yeah.
much if you hear this to contribute in that way. I didn't even think about experienced dreamers who already have a method to determine what worked for them. It would be very interesting to see how their recall varied before as opposed to after the experiment. And we actually grappled quite a bit with whether or not we would allow people to choose their own method, or if they preferred one method to make them use the other one. But the best practice is always randomization, right? So eliminate any sort of bias and just split people 50-50. That's what we ended up doing.
However, there does become a subjective bias in there where, maybe someone does well because they prefer a certain method. Maybe that actually does help them. So
Exactly.
there's
Yep.
the other
And
side of
Yeah,
that coin.
exactly. Yeah.
I will say though, on like anecdotal report, that a few people were surprised that the other method they didn't prefer yielded better recall. So it just goes to show you never know until you try, and you should experiment to find out what works for you.
Yeah. One thing I would like to say before we kind of end here is there's a lot of great content, being put out, especially by Amina at the Dream World podcast. So, feel free to look out, because we're not going to stop posting on our other media. We're going to be using our media sources that we already have to enhance the Lucid Dream Initiative, what we're doing. So look out for Dream Dojo on Facebook and YouTube, and Dream World Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I am, of course, Skyfall Blind Dreamer, mostly on YouTube, and also post on Reddit. And so you can look at us there. You can see the content. I recommend following, those, see the stuff that's going on. I know Amina is putting out a lot of content on Dream World Podcast, so there's quite a lot there. Night Owl over there with Dream Dojo is just getting started with his interviews, and I know there's going to be a lot of good things to come from that. So definitely, let's follow all those and pay attention to all that, because there's going to be some good things coming, and it's all going to kind of relate and help work with Lucid Dream Initiative going forward. So thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, this is just the beginning. I'm so excited to see the future of this project and where we take it as a collective community. So keep an eye out. You never know where you're going to see LDI in the future. So we'll end it there.
Yes, true. And thank you to everybody that's been commenting and just chatting in my comment section on Instagram. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you guys. Peace and
Oh.
sweet dreams.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.